Hello, everyone. Today I'm going to throw a few ideas at you, but I'm going to start with a short story. It's a story about the country I live in. It's Finland, and it's a story about a vegetable or a fruit, I don't know. It's the avocado. And the story goes like this. A couple, Alexander and Hanna Gulliksen, they published a cookbook called Safka a year ago in Finland. And in it, they had a recipe about a dish that was called the avocado pasta. And around it, they framed a story that he had made this dish to her, and she loved it so much that she almost had to start to cry because it was so good. So the avocado pasta was the start of their love relationship. And they published a cookbook, and people read the story, they read the pasta, they tried it out, and they loved it. So they started talking about it. They put it on Facebook, they shared it on Tumblr. Suddenly the newspaper was writing about it, and the avocado pasta was everywhere. Finland was eating avocado pasta almost every day. Now what happened is that the supermarkets, they didn't have any avocados. They had 3 avocados there, really hard. You know, those that you leave 1 week at home and then suddenly you realize they've gone bad. So they really had to do something about it. And actually, Google knew already before the supermarkets that this was becoming a trend. So they better should have asked Google about it. So a few months later, the stores are full of avocados. And it persists up today. Even the smallest kiosk on the corner in Finland features avocados ready to eat and soft. So what happened here? It's actually people, customers, had an impact on what the supermarket is delivering to them. And obviously the supermarket had to talk to their supplier, and they had to talk to their producer that we need avocados that are ready to eat for our customers. So quite a nice transformation has happened here, initiated by people. But the shops weren't really in the center of all that. So today I want to talk about, what the shops actually could learn from that story. So therefore, Shop, Eat, Live, from supermarket to super service market. Let's start with looking at the history of supermarkets. And there's actually not so much to tell. End of the 19th century, the first small shops popped up. In the 1920s, we had an explosion suddenly of the first chain grocery retail stores, still very little. Then in the 40s, they suddenly became bigger and bigger, and big corporations started to launch their big supermarket chains all across the countries. In the 50s, they moved into shopping malls and shopping centers, yet increasing in size. In the 70s, we had the first discounters. And then only in the past 10, 15 years, we actually see a trend going back towards the beginning where we started. A little bit smaller shops, more personalized services, and a focus on organic and fresh produce. Now, we all know that supermarkets are laid out to sell most to us, right? So there's, the stuff on our side that's, quite up price, and the price goes higher the higher you look, and down is the cheap stuff. And even the products that we buy, they kind of try to sell us a natural and a healthy lifestyle. There's products called Natural Valley or Farmer's Delight, but they might have nothing to do anymore with the actual natural ingredients that were featured there. Quite surprisingly, supermarkets in the US, in Finland it's about 20,000, but in the US it's up to 40,000 products that they stock. Now think about your fridge, your kitchen. You don't have 45,000 products there, and you don't need that. So the question is, why do we need all that choice? There has been done some research that actually the more choice we have, the less likely we are to buy. If we get to choose from 6 jars of jam or from 24 jars of jams, we are more likely to buy from the choice of 6 jars. So actually the choice that we have is overwhelming us. It makes it harder for us to choose. So this is something that's good to keep in mind when we offer tons of products, be it online or actually in stores. Let's think about shopping. Who really enjoys going grocery shopping? After work, it's raining, you're hungry, you're tired, your kids are screaming. The shop is full of people. There's not so much, it's just like, I need to do that. It's not really enjoyable. I did a research in Helsinki people aged 24 to 45. And I asked them, what's the most unpleasant thing about grocery shopping? So they said, carrying groceries, searching for products, finding them, the prices, people, queues, and rush. Then I asked them, what's the most pleasant about grocery shopping? They answered, freshness of produce, good quality, getting everything I want, finding new products, good service, and getting ideas for meals. Now, if you compare these two, unpleasant, it's all related about the physicality of the store. It's when I'm there and doing it. It's carrying, it's people, it's everything around me. And everything that's pleasant, it's actually related to the intangible experience. It's about the service and the experience that I'm having while shopping. I asked people if they imagine their perfect supermarket experience, what would that be? And I identified that there's 4 things that most people want to have, which are common among them. One is they really want to have fresh, new, local, and organic food in their stores. Nowadays, you always find the special section. There's organic, and then there's all the other stuff. There's a little bit of fair trade, and there's all the other stuff. But people were very common in the research that they want to really focus on buying more fresh and local and organic products. People want added value when they go grocery shopping. They need inspiration, they need recommendations of what to do for dinner. They want to have groceries packed in themes, and they want to have stuff delivered to their homes. They would love to have more customer service. They don't want to have staff actually stacking up the shelves, but they want to have a conversation with them, giving them tips and advice about what they could do. And they care a lot about the atmosphere, that it's calm, relaxed, less queues, and few people. Now, this is not really something that we experience nowadays in supermarkets, so just asking by customers, the question is really, haven't supermarkets realized that yet? And the question is, why should supermarkets actually care? Now, if we look at the Maslow pyramid, which is all familiar to you, we have the baseline of needs, physiological, safety, social and esteem, and then we have the needs of self-actualization, of realizing my dreams and my goals in life. If we look at Pine and Gilmer, the book, The Experience Economy, and how they see the economy evolving, they say, we're moving from goods to services, from services to experiences, and to transformations. So actually transformations, services that transform us, that help us to self-actualize. And then, if we look at Grönros, he says actually that in order for services to differentiate in the market, you need to have not only the core service, your reason for being in the market, you need to have facilitating services that enable your core service, but what really differentiates you is your supporting services. Now, if we look at self-actualization and the need on the top of the pyramid, if we look at, we're moving towards transformation economy where we need to deliver services that really have an impact on people's life and in form of supporting services, what could that mean actually for the supermarkets? Right now, supermarkets are very much at the bottom of the pyramid. They deliver groceries. Now, slowly, they're actually moving this step up. Many of them already offer home delivery, online shopping, and lots of other little things. But these are just, facilitators of groceries. But what I believe that supermarkets should really focus on, if we look at the needs for self-actualization, is that supermarkets should at how we can actually live a healthier life. And why should they really care about it? More and more people find through digital technologies their ways to groceries others than through grocery stores. So there's tons of little startup services and digital platforms that actually connect the producers right away with the consumers, and the shops are left alone. Right now, it's a little fraction of customers, but it's rising and it's getting more and more relevant. Also, there's a huge increase of sales the more transparency you actually offer to your customers. A little shop in Sweden did a test. They actually made it available for customers to trace the fish from where it was caught to where it was sold. And fish sales rose in 1 week from a few kilos to over 150 kilos. So that's a sales increase of over 120%. So that's quite substantial. Finally, and we heard it already yesterday, the global challenges that we are facing, one of those is, increasing diseases like diabetes, coronary heart diseases, and the stuff that we eat in the supermarkets is actually contributing a big part to that. So supermarkets shouldn't close their eyes in front of that, because if we can't move anymore to the shop, we can't buy anything. If we die early, we won't be customers for a long time. So looking at customers in a long term, supermarkets should be interested in actually making us live long and buy through that. A year ago, I presented together with Nancy from IXTS 8 ingredients for transformative services. Ingredients that we believe make services transformative in nature, meaning they will have an impact on how customers or your consumers will behave. The 8 things that we believe that you should be doing is connect your service to a community. And nowadays, there's tons of ways to do that through Facebook and other social media platforms. Match wants and needs, meaning finding those people that have something and finding those people that need something and hooking them up through your service. Form new habits is help people, like in the avocado pasta example, help people to do something quickly that is good. And suddenly, new behavior will be established. Establish platforms, and that's what Louise already talked about her in her talk. Do little things that fit together. Empower the individual. Yesterday, big data was a big topic and actually showed how big data actually can inform people to make smarter decisions. So surfacing up a lot of data and information that you have actually about your customers to actually empower them to make better decisions. Embed services seamlessly. Services don't need to be always upfront. They can be in your pocket. It can be a little sensor. It can be a little wearable you wear. It can be a little note that's in the supermarket on the side. So embed services so that they just go along with you, that they don't disturb your daily activities. Enable responsible actions, again, coming back to the global challenges, think a little bit wider. Let's think, how can we actually make our society more sustainable? And finally, foster co-creation, involve your customers in co-creating the services that you're offering. Now, if we go back to the avocado story, let's think for a moment, why was that so successful? It was a compelling story that could be easily told and that spread along quite quickly. It was something healthy, and if people realize, hey, this is healthy, many people might go for it, and it was tasty. There was an easy recipe involved, so it was very quick to make, and it had just a few steps involved. Anyone could do it. It was affordable, nothing really expensive. It was, as mentioned before, it was people initiated. It was not pushed out by anyone else. And it had a digital channel through which it could travel. Now, if we could think, how could we actually help supermarkets to achieve similar things? And I want to throw now a few ideas at you that I think that could help supermarkets reach similar success as in the avocado story. One thing is that just do the same, crowdsource. Let people put up their recipes online, have them vote, have them share it, and then offer in the supermarket for sale. Very quick and very easy, it doesn't cost anything. Pack the groceries all together into recipes, add a little recipe, and sell it. There was only one upscale supermarket in the whole Finland region that actually grouped the ingredients of the recipe on a table for people to pick them up. But you can just put that every week, a different dish in a bag, there, take it and go. So people start making food at home. Again, data. Make people understand what they buy, what they eat, and what they consume. Supermarkets gather a lot of data about us through their loyalty cards. Right now, they're using it mostly for their own purposes. But let's turn that around and let's help people understand how they can actually live a healthier life through understanding the products that they consume. Finally, support. How can we actually use digital technology in the store to make the store experience more seamless, more hassle-free, and more delightful? And I'm waiting for the intelligent shopping cart that I can just drop my stuff in, and it recognizes it, and it's synced with my shopping list, and then I can just walk out of the store. Delight, again, how could I use my mobile phone? How could I use a booklet around recipes or in-store mapping to actually discover new products in the store? You know, you could have a Discover India tour that brings me all around those little ingredients to make an Indian dish, or it could give you ideas of how to become a vegan or vegetarian. Finally, speeding up the process of checking out. I think many supermarkets are trying self-service checkout. Sainsbury is doing that. I tried it already. But there's still lots of hassle involved. Yesterday, I just watched a video of a German store who introduced mobile payment from your phone, and it actually takes over a week to register even for the payment service. Again, you know, there's more barriers in making it actually quicker than actually, you know, after all, taking your cash out and waiting. And finally, less is more. Again, you know, if a store features 45,000 products and you want to do online shopping, you don't want to click through 45,000 products to find the milk that you actually need. So how can we actually, you know, make sense out of these millions of products on a digital interface and kind of recommend and help users find exactly what they need based on their consumption patterns and based on their preferences? So the 4 things that I came up, or I concluded with, that supermarkets really should focus on when they design services is that they should guide their customers more throughout their shop. They should guide them towards a healthy nutrition. They should inspire them. They should find ways to make people understand that, you know, the healthy nutrition can be like the way towards well-being. They should speed up, and I think that's in the interest of many supermarkets. They should speed up the way that we can shop and that we can focus on the really important things. And then they should reward this behavior in order for us to come back to their stores. Finally, I think supermarkets should go away from the thinking that, you know, all we do is shopping. But how can actually the supermarket become relevant in all the other phases involved around groceries? How can they help me while I'm reflecting on what to eat and what to cook next? How can they help me in planning my next grocery shopping? Then shopping. How can they help me and support me in preparing meals if I'm in a rush and I don't have time and I don't know how? And then finally eating. How can they give feedback on, you know, what I'm eating and how I'm eating? There's lots of stuff outside, but as we, again, referring to Louise' talk back, you know, there's lots of bits and pieces and services out there, but they all don't fit together yet. And I think the challenges for supermarkets will be to find services that actually connect together in order to provide value for their customers. Kochhaus in Germany is a nice example of how a supermarket actually can reinvent itself. So this is a walk-in recipe book. Here, the ingredients are actually gathered around a table. You can see the recipe, and you can actually see this dish costs you $3.25 per person. So if I take 4 pieces of that dish, that will be my price. And everything is already packed into bags and measured, so just for me to pick up. Another example, funnily, from McDonald's, which is not really the healthiest choice of food maybe in the world, but in Australia, they actually launched an app that lets you track the ingredients of your Macs. So it's quite interesting to see that actually even customers of fast food, they want to know nowadays where the food comes from. And finally, another German example is a little box, and that exists in many countries, I assume, as well. A little box with ingredients and recipes ready to cook that I can actually order to my home. So there's already lots of stuff happening out there. It's a trend, and I think it will get stronger over time. Now, finally, I want to finish you know, we don't want to shop, we need to eat, but we want to live. And that's what supermarkets should focus on. So we should be thinking of how we can integrate the little avocado in all the services around grocery shopping. Thank you.
Any questions for Melanie? Got one there.
Okay. But the supermarket could do like a speed up, guide, inspiring. What was the fourth one? There's another one.
That will reward.
Reward. So if you have a limited resources, what would you try the first? What would you try the last? Out of those 4 service strategies.
I think I would do I think I would try them all, but I would start with people, because I think if you have limited resources, yes, so go out there and take the people to make it happen. I think it's just all about enabling all the customers to actually help you co-create the service experience in your store.